Hi, it's Pete Moore and welcome to PCM Guns. This is TIPPMAN's 22 rimfire semi-auto rifle, the M4-Elite Fluted. It is probably one of the best 22 ARs out there. There's many around, different prices, all look quite good. Some don't really have the features required, others do, and the TIPPMAN certainly does. I can recall nicking my brother's Guns and Ammo magazine back in the 60s when they did the first ever article on Eugene Stoner's Armalite system, which turned into the AR15 for sporting users and the M16 for military type users. And I was just blown away. I'd never seen such a unusual but good looking rifle, and I've been a fan ever since. I've owned self-loading types when we could before the 88 ban. I've shot a lot of them in the army when I was in Canada, full auto, 3-round burst, that sort of thing. And when we had the self-loaded rifle ban, I very quickly transitioned to a straight pull AR just because I like the way they work. Then you get the mini rifle situation where the Ruger 1022, God bless it, great rifle, and in many ways saved a lot of shooters' bacon back after the handgun ban, became the semi-auto of choice. Not ideal, but still a great rifle for what it was. Bear in mind it's a sporter and not a military type. Then the AR15 Type 22 rimfire started to appear, and they really cleaned up the clock in terms of what you can do. Easy mag changes, accessories to die for. And I used to have a Smith & Wesson 1522, which was an ugly little bugger, and it took a fair bit of, should we say, customizing to make it look a little bit more sensible or just prettier. But it shot well. And the thing about the Smith was it was very well priced. But now, with my experience from the Smith, and now having been shooting and playing with this for a few weeks now, I had to say this is a definite cut above the Smith & Wesson. Yes, it's more expensive, but there's a lot more rifle going on, as we shall see. TIPPMAN offer many options on the M422 with customized versions, standard guns, and this, the Fluted, is probably the second one up from the standard rifle. But they all are, in terms of action and everything, offer identical. So what you get a rock rear arm style telescopic butt. Everybody likes these days. Bit rattly, but it works. Straight from the box. The pistol grip is what they call a Gen 2 grip, and it's obviously been, should we say, copied from Magpul's excellent range of pistol grips. It's nice, it's hand filling, nicely textured. It's got a nice big back strap to keep your hand where it is. Look at it a bit closer. It comes down with fold up, fold down type emboss iron sights, so you can be shooting from the box before you get too excited. There's a functioning forward assist, a case deflector, and the obligatory automatic ejection port cover that pops open as you load. Magazine release is under there, just a straight button. And at the back is a T-handle. This one's fitted with like an ambidextrous T-handle, whereas the standard TIPPMAN T-handle is just the one side, but it's all been made for the 22 rimfire gun. There's a 12-inch free float forend with M-LOK, and as you can see, like the receiver, it has a Picatinny rail on it, so there's no problem with mounting anything, which is great. Again, we can see the front sight, and also here we can see the fluted barrel. Those flutes are quite deep and they run the length of the barrel, and I say the barrel is like sort of for a 2.2 medium / heavy, and it really does lose some weight, but I imagine it does contribute to rigidity. And typically AR15, it's threaded 1/2x28 UNEF, so no problem in moderators or muzzle devices. The rifle comes in a plastic hard case and includes 2x25 round magazines. There's also a 10 round option available, and you can get them in different colours as well. All that for £1,149. On the other side we have the safety catch, which is a 2-position lever, that's marked safe and semi. Up is fire, forward is safe. Very easy to operate with fire and hand thumb, no problem at all. We can see the pistol in a bit more detail. Looking above where the magazine locking bar is, there is a bolt release catch, which the bolt is also holds open on the last round, and it can be used manually or automatically. And again, it's what the AR is good for. It's a rifle designed to be shot and used with its controls, which make it so much slicker to use. Compared to some other 2.2 rimfire which look like semi-autos, TIPPMAN have rethought the bolt system, which is quite refreshing. Bolt is nickel plated. As you can see, it's just a bolt. A lot of these guns incorporate like a little chassis where the bolt sits there, the return spring sits behind it, but this is just a pure clean bolt. And again, like the real 223 rifle, the buffer tube has a spring in it, obviously, and that's what powers the bolt forward on the firing stroke. The trigger comes in at 4.5 pounds. It's a typically military heavy type AR trigger, and the rifle will take any drop-in unit, which most people who are running these guns in competition or just for fun tend to do. So to strip, you push out this pin, the action opens up, and the bolt just comes out. So push it back in, shut it up, push the pin through, and you're there. We're used perhaps on this sort of rifle to see a magazine that's skeletonized with a big slot in the middle and basically a thumb lever to pull the spring down to load it. TIPPMAN do this too. They do it in a more realistic way. This bit here is just a cover. You press this catch and this pulls down like that. It locks in place. You don't have to have this on if you don't want to. You can completely unlock it. Then all you do is pull down on the catches and load as normal. And then once you're done, shut it up. And what it does, it gives it a more realistic looking magazine. Also, it makes the magazine stronger and certainly less impervious to getting gunk into the ammunition, which can cause stoppages. So you get 225s with it. You see here it's got metal feed lips, which again is nice, not the plastic of most guns. And this is a 10. Yeah, that was fun. Okay, that's testing done and shooting done. So what do I think? Well, I genuinely like this rifle. I really do. Things I like, there's a couple of caveats I do have. Trigger is quite heavy and it is a two-stage, but this first stage is very hard to take up and it takes a bit of practice to actually find the break point, and that did affect group somewhat for obvious reasons. And it's not the rifle, it's not the barrel, it's the fact that the trigger is just very heavy and you need to get your head around it. Okay, also what I like, the magazines are good, they're easy to load. I like the fact you can slide off the cover, the fact the cover's there and you can put it back on and it protects it. However, a little tip, if you're thinking of shooting the rifle without the magazine cover on, don't, because the cutout for the magazine lug is in the removable cover. The standard butt is okay, the Rock River type. I don't particularly like it, and I think if I was going for anything, I'd go for something like this. It's got a little bit more cheek support, generally rather a bit better sort of ergonomically and practically. Whatever pistol grip you pick is fine. The standard TIPPMAN grip is very, very good. I would fit an ambi safety if it was me, just me. You don't really need them, but I quite like the fact sometimes it's nice to have a safety on both sides of the rifle. But it hasn't put a foot wrong all day long, and I've put a good few hundred rounds through it. It just eats everything, and I put that down to mainly the fact that the magazine is very well designed with those steel feed lips, which do obviously have an effect on feed and function. Didn't have one stuff up, never needs to use the forward assist. I tried to set up some forward assist situations where I'd have to use it, and even when slow cycling the bolt to get the first round in, it just chambered it. So yes, it's there, and I imagine if you've got some real duffo ammo, it's going to be useful. But I couldn't find a reason to use it because the gun was so reliable. At the end of the day, the first investment for me would be a better trigger. You can get trigger kits. Pretty much is a standard AR15 trigger, and you can get spring kits to go in, that sort of stuff you want to, or match tuning kits. But a lot of people just put their hand in their pocket and go for a drop-in unit, which is great. You just knock out, take off your low receiver, knock out the pins, get rid of all the old trigger mech, drop in the thing. You might need to use bigger pins with anti-warp washers on the end, but that really makes it. And I think that the axis of this, which even with a heavy trigger, as we see, has proved itself quite well, could be improved and made more consistent. So on that point, we start with Magtech high velocity, 1.256 inches. This is all shot at 50 yards. SK's long range, which is a really tasty round for long range shooting, came at 0.684. If you look at the group, you'll see that it crept up. There was two close together, and then the third one was up from it, and that is just down to me and trigger control. Midas Plus, which is another great match type round, is 0.384. No complaints there at all. I just got the trigger right that time. Most surprising of all, Winchester's 42 grain max, which is a subsonic, which is my chosen subsonic for bunny bashing, came in at a stonking 1.339 inches. Now that is impressive. It actually outshot the Midas and the SK. CCI mini mag, high velocity, 1.047. Acceptable. Remy subsonics, 1.412. So a mixed bag across the board. I shudder to think what that Midas might do with a better trigger in this rifle, and I know the SKLR would come down probably about the same as the Midas. The only weird thing about the Winchester Max, because it's got a spring in the butt, you can feel everything moving, and the whole thing sounded much quieter and so much slower to shoot, but I thought it might have reliability problems, and not at all. So that's really it. I'm just off to do a couple of 25 round mag dumps just for the hell of it, because I like it. But as usual, thanks for supporting the channel. Tell your friends if you liked it. Remember, subscribe and like. And if you need to speak to me about anything, it's pmoore.shootingsports@gmail.com. Okay guys, I'll see you again soon, and as usual, shoot straight and be safe. Yeah, baby.